Let's enjoy some beautiful scenics from Bethpage Black in New York. Third and final day of Ryder Cup action. I'm going to say what we're all thinking. Thank goodness things have not gone well so far for the Americans, but Sunday brings new hope and opportunity as the U.S. looks to mount a massive comeback and retake the trophy from the European squad. Let's welcome in Patrick Macdonald, who is joining us from Bethpage Black. What is the atmosphere like today? That has been the talk of the town this weekend.
It's certainly a little more subdued. I think it could only go one direction, right, Emily? I think if you would label it from 1 through 10 yesterday on a scale, it was probably an 11 with what was being said out there, with what was being thrown at some of the players and their family members. But I feel like the New York crowd kind of read into that, and the logistics of a Ryder Cup Sunday is certainly not as intimate as Friday and Saturday, just given how the competition cadences, right? There are now 12 matches out on the golf course. The crowd is going to be a bit more sparsed out. The U.S. team really hasn't given the New York crowd a ton to cheer about, and so because of that, there aren't a ton of big crowds, and with an increase in police presence around some of those big groups, including the one of Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler, it's definitely a bit more subdued than it was here on Saturday.
Yeah, the play has, of course, been unfortunate, but the actions, too, of fans. Let's go back to the play, though. Where do you put the USA's chances to pull this off? I'll
say 1 in 5,000 at the moment.
Okay.
I'm not going to say 0%. Because, you know, weird things can happen on Ryder Cup Sunday. I think if you look at the current status of the leaderboard here on Sunday singles, the U.S. is gaining a little bit of momentum. They're flipping a few matches, but it was such a tall mountain to climb coming into this morning. You add in the fact that Viktor Hovland had to withdraw from his match due to a neck injury. Harris English not playing. That means that's a tie. Europe only needed 2 points out of the possible 11 this afternoon to retain the Ryder Cup, only needing to get 14 out of the 28 since they're currently in possession of it. They have one really good match out there that looks good with Matt Fitzpatrick over Bryson DeChambeau. That means that they only need to tie a handful more, let alone winning some. And so for the U.S., it's not only about taking blue off the board, it's about putting red on the board also. And that is just such a monumental task given the hole that they dug themselves the first 2 days of this competition.
Yeah, typically golf is an individual sport, so it's very easy to place blame. But this weekend, it is a team sport, and yet we're still trying to find somebody to blame here. And I think a lot of that attention has been on Keegan Bradley and his captaincy. So what are you going to take away from his huge job and his huge undertaking that he had this weekend as the captain of Team USA?
It's a thankless job, the Ryder Cup captain, right? You receive all the praise if your team wins. You receive all the blame if your team loses. I think he has to tip a cap to the European team. This team, if they do convert this Ryder Cup, could easily go down as the best European team ever in the history of this event, including Luke Donald being the best captain, winning their home in Rome 2 years ago, and then on the road, the first team to do that since Luke Donald was world #1 and led that European team there in 2012 at Macdonald. But I think I would take away that Keegan's heart was in the right place. He made a lot of high-level good decisions, ones that people expected him to make, and I think he tried to take a page out of the European book almost, but he lost the entire plot. He didn't bring in any additional leadership with him. He wanted to completely flip house, and you saw it with his assistant captains, Brandt Snedeker, Kevin Kisner, Webb Simpson. None of those guys have had any experience. You juxtapose that to the European leadership. Of course, Luke Donald at the helm again, but they have former captains as vice captains. Jose Maria, Thomas Bjorn, the Molinari brothers, who have been a part of the Ryder Cup for a really long time. So I think Keegan's heart was in the right place. It was such a huge undertaking. Like you said, in addition to playing his normal PGA Tour schedule, still being a top 15 player in the world, winning big-time events on the PGA Tour, and you add that all together, and I think ultimately he just lost the plot, and unfortunately he's going to receive a lot of the blame.
And definitely going to be put under the microscope when things go as badly as they have. Patrick Macdonald, thank you so much for breaking that down for us and your fantastic reporting out at Bethpage Black this weekend. You can catch more from him on the Early Wedge. They got you covered for all things golf and betting. You can watch on YouTube by scanning that QR code or listen wherever you find your podcasts.